Hello and welcome to the White Deer Filmmaking Podcast in association with the White Deer International Film Festival. I'm Alistair Railton, one of the festival directors. Sat alongside me is my friend Adam Sandy, our other festival director. And in the background today we have a new recruit, Kaylee Pickup, who is on the wire.
Still doesn't mean anything.
I know. I'm rolling with it.
You're going to create a whole new, terminology for the film industry.
I know. It will grow. It will become The Wire. You know? I don't know.
Are we going to see in credits on big films? There's camera and everything, and then there's On the Wire.
Maybe that might be where it goes. You never know.
All right then. There are wires. That's as far as it goes.
That is how we go.
Who have we got today?
So today we have Thomas Pollock, who was the film director of the film Victories. Now, Victories won the Best Writing category of the November-December season of the White Deer bi-monthly film period. So I think without further ado, should we jump in?
Do you want to give a quick overview of what the film is about? Because it's a period piece.
Yep.
So it's set in World War One, and we talk about that throughout the podcast, about the challenges that brings. And this film really did do a good job of world building, and you couldn't help but think that we were in World War One in the film. Yep. There was no doubt in my mind whilst watching it, and I think that's a massive achievement.
Yeah, absolutely. They really put a lot into the sort of costumes, props. Really gave it, even down to colour grading. They gave it a real feel of the time. It was a very moving story in its own right, a very human story, I'd say.
Well, just before we get going with Thomas, we need to just mention that there will be a waiver code, a discount code that we share at the end of the episode, so hang around for that if you'd like 10% off an entry to the film festival. But yeah, let's go to our interview with Thomas now.
Welcome, Thomas. Welcome to the White Deer Filmmaking Podcast. Lovely to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So you're here representing the film Victories. So could you start by just telling us a little bit about how the project started and how you first got involved with the project?
Well, a good friend of mine, Andrew McNeil, who has written the film and stars in the film as Otto, he just approached me with a script that he'd been working on for a while about a German soldier being shot down and helping a British soldier. It's just a real crazy kind of scenario. He had written a draft. It went through about 10 drafts. We tried to take it to a production company first. They turned it down. Things they just stopped talking to us or whatever happened. They just kind of faded away. And eventually we were because we really need. It was a big film. It's a big project. So we're I don't know if we're ready to do this on our own. So that's why we went to the company. But 6 months later, we just tackled it on our own and ended up crowdfunding and put up a campaign on Indiegogo. We put some of our own money in, and then just started to get the ball rolling.
Excellent. So, have previous to this film, had you done anything to a similar scale before?
I did. In the same year, about this time 2 years ago, I was filming Belfast Caliber 9, which is a crime thriller. So I had things like blank fire and weapons and all. There was a 22-page script, and there was so many locations. The film's a bit of a nightmare, if you ask me, but some of the technical stuff we pulled off was pretty cool. But it was, there was about 35 people on that, and that's a short film. That was like working on a feature, really.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So, Andrew's original sort of concept for the script, did he say sort of how he kind of developed the story? What was the inspiration behind it?
I think, he's a big history buff, and he's currently wanting to write something about the Second World War, so I look forward to seeing that and how we're going to end up doing that. But he's very invested in history, and I think the inspiration came around just the Germans' perspectives, the German stories of the First World War. You don't see very much of that perspective, because when you see films like Downfall, everything's always about the Second World War, but you never see many stories about German soldiers in the First World War. So we thought it'd be interesting that he covers something in the First World War, and to make it a little bit different, he has picked a story that involves a German pilot with an English girlfriend. So that I think, and it's not a completely unknown thing. I think there's someone called the Red Baron. I think that was one of the inspirations. That's why he's known as quite a good pilot. You know, when he's asking how many people he shot down, that was one of the inspirations for that. But the whole scenario with having an English girlfriend, like that wouldn't have been totally unknown. You know, I'm sure there's a few people that had to just leave, and then turns out they're basically fighting the country they lived in, which is weird.
I mean, that's kind of. I think that one of the things that really stood out for me in terms of, from a story point of view, was the fact that it tells a very human story between, once you take away the flags and the countries that these people represented, the bottom line is you had a German soldier and a British soldier who were just they're both human, and I kind of liked that sort of camaraderie you guys had built into the story. It was really, and that's what gripped me personally about the from a writing story point of view, definitely.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I really liked about the script was just that dialogue. You've got the age difference isn't massive, but this guy, the German Otto, was much older than Benjamin in just mentality, and he's much more full of pride and everything. Whereas Benjamin's a little bit younger, he's a bit more rebellious. So I love the kind of meet in the middle, because they're not friends at the start, and it is that kind of classic friendship that you see develop in. And I love stories like that. And like you said, it's a very human story, and that's where I come in. That's the kind of stories that I want to tell. Those kind of human driven dramas. And it does come through, and it's thanks to having a good script to work with as well.
Yeah, so another thing that we really liked about it was how authentic you made it and how good it looked. Just we've just come off making a film that's set in the 70s, so we're fully aware of all the challenges that brought. So we just loved how authentic you made it. Can you speak a bit about all the things that went into the authenticity of it, costumes and everything?
Yeah, I can try and keep things brief. There was a lot of complications. We had one resource. That whole end scene was meant to be set somewhere else. It was meant someone had made a short film before and had a trench system and stuff, and they had a big field out in the countryside. We were going to use that. Kept in touch. I contacted this guy about 2 months before I was going to shoot the thing. So lots and lots of prep. But he's also going to, we had a set fee as well. There was a bit of money involved. Had a set fee, not lots, but, more than, someone would usually give for just doing a short film. But I gave him that. He's going to provide some costumes, bits and pieces of Andrew's costume. Very last minute, he dropped out, and I was keeping in touch with him. And then all of a sudden, he's like, "Oh, I won't be there that day. You just can't use it." And I was like, "You tell me it's now? It's like 2 weeks away." And and we were already sourcing stuff from other places. There was prop places in Belfast that usually give stuff to BBC and stuff, and other production companies. So we used that place for all the British Army uniforms. Actually managed to get that off one of my uncles who does reenactments, First World War reenactments. So I had 5 of those. That was brilliant, because we were able to just cover everybody. Then we went to an army surplus store, bought sandbags and stuff. You can't even see them that much at the end scene, which is quite sad, but I did have sandbags. What else? Yeah, the army surplus store, we just went in, bought loads of boots and stuff, and it turns out we actually spent about the same money we were going to give this other fella, and we went and found a location. I don't know if I want to tell you where it was shot, because I think there's a mystery to what we've done. It's pretty impressive, but I'll keep it I'll tell you later maybe, but I'll keep it a secret. But no, it was a challenge, because like you said, we want to keep it all looking the part. So, and we went. Another place we went was a theatre company. That's where we got the suitcase from. So that had to be key. There's no way this is going to be, because it's just going to look amateur and uninteresting if there's just one thing out of place. you know. So that's why we shot. That's why it's shot in the forest and everything. Getting the train station was quite difficult. Our shots were very limited.
Yeah.
I had to do some keying at the start of the shot, the wide. I really wanted a wide like that, and it was really hard to get it because there was these big pillars and then there was cars in the background. But we made it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that we noticed. Just all the things in the background that that wouldn't be period appropriate, and yes, I think doing a period film, it really makes you think about set design a load
Yeah.
more, probably as much as you should have been doing, but you can get away with a lot more if it's not set in a particular period kind of thing. So yeah, but I think you did a really good job, and also with the forest as well. It's it really does look the part, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely. I mean, you can imagine these guys kind of being out in those kind of environments and sort of just in a very isolated place. I was going to ask Thomas, the weapons you got, did you say you got that from, was it like a designated prop place, or was that from your uncle, or... Yeah.
That's a good question actually. That was from like two different people. Again, that's what I'm saying. There must have been there's like five different sources for all this stuff, and at the end of it, it was like what goes where?
Yeah.
Where do we get all this stuff? It was all sitting in my house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, right, where's this go? And where's this go? So the guns. So a couple of the Enfields came from a guy who does this. Usually, he's an armorer and stuff on sets, but he just he was happy enough to lend it to us for free. And I'm glad he trusted us anyway. And then the other one was same scenario. It was a guy who just had all these things because he's done reenactments and stuff. And I think the Luger, the Luger came from the same fella, so that's where we got the weapons. And the weapons were very important as well, and they worked very well. We've actually used them again in the RIC short that we just done, which is again an period thing set in the forest, but this time it's War of Independence period Ireland. But yeah, so we got those.
So is that kind of period pieces? Is that a genre that you like to work in and want to do more work in?
I do like it, but I wouldn't say it's something that I want to focus on as a genre. But I do like getting into a period piece. It's very fun as well because you get transported. It's real movie magic whenever you invent a whole world. I love that whole world building element. And I love older films as well, and I think that's a reason I do enjoy making those kind of films. So I would definitely like to make more films set in like either the 70s or the 30s or the 20s. Definitely, I would love to do that in the future.
Excellent.
Do you have any other sort of genres you'd like to explore, like sci-fi or horror or?
Sci-fi, yes. Sci-fi is one of those ones. I could say, sci-fi. You have to think about big budgets, but I can't remember the name of the filmmaker, but he made a film called Primer, and it was made for like $10,000 or something, and it's actually a sci-fi film. It's actually quite good. Um, Crime. I want to work on more crime thrillers. I want to do that because I love Godfather and stuff. Quite generic choices you'll hear from me.
Yeah.
But I love all those kind of classic gangster films from the 70s. Would love to get into that. Social realist drama, which is probably my strength. Just doing stories about working class people, just proper human dramas. Not too fussed on horror, but if a good script comes up, I would want to do because I love 30s horror films and stuff like that, real German expressionist kind of stuff. I'd love to do something mad like that. More like the Babadook was really good. I'd love to do something like that, psychological. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we always sort of love to ask people is kind of what was your journey to getting into filmmaking, film directing, and perhaps where do you see yourself in 5-10 years time, the journey you're on?
That's a good question. I think around the age of 16 or so, I just got really into Well, when I was a wee bit younger, I was into animation and stuff, and I toyed with that. I was a big fan of Tim Burton. I'm not as big a fan now, but I do appreciate some of his work. He's kind of went downhill now, like. But as an animator, I was very into stop motion and stuff. Then eventually, I started to get interested into fiction films. I watched a lot of old horror films and stuff as well with Vincent Price. Love those. And then eventually I started thinking about, making stuff when I was like 16, 17. I did media studies. I made a film during A level. Then I went to do film at university. I did a year in America doing film production in 2015. Just around that time, I wanted to be a director. It's always been I've wanted to focus on directing. But then as a director, in that situation, you end up just learning everything. You learn how to direct, you learn how to write, produce, edit. I was interested in cinematography quite a bit, as a lot of directors usually are. You're very involved with the camera. So I was thinking maybe I was going to go down the director, cinematographer kind of route. But now I've kind of, now I've, out of necessity, I've done directing, producing, and discovered that I'm actually quite good at producing as well. I would still rather have someone else produce my stuff, but for now, I'm a director and a producer. Um, so yeah, no, I've just always been passionate about it. I've never had a doubt once about changing careers, as challenging as it may get, and how competitive it is, especially from where I am actually at the minute. You know yourselves, Thrones and everything was shot here,
Of
but
course, yep.
the work's dried up recently, and that's kind of like there's all these ADs and stuff. Like, where's the work?
Yeah, yeah.
But in 5 years, if I play my cards right, I would love to be working on my first feature film.
Oh,
If not
brilliant.
before then,
Yeah,
I was.
yeah. That's awesome.
So do you have multiple people that you collaborate with for the writing? Then you said about Andrew, is his name, who wrote Victories, wants to write something else. So do you have kind of relationships built with a few writers?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say Andrew's probably one of my only key ones, really. It's funny because I haven't really written anything, but I have ideas. It just so happens the past 2 years I've just been working on stuff that has inspired me. I'm not much of a writer usually, but I've got lots of. I'm just not very good with structure of writing. I just have a lot of ideas and thoughts and scenes. I've basically got scenes in my head and I just don't know where to put them. But no, I do. I work a lot with Andrew's writing. His writing is good. And we've had stuff turned down and stuff. There's scripts sitting all over the place. We applied the RTE storylines and stuff like that, and got turned down. Yeah, it's just the way it is. For every 10 ideas you've got, one will get done. you know. But I would say he's one of the writers I would frequently collaborate with and have done. Um, but other than that, I've just kind of done one or two for other people here and there.
Yeah. So what about any of your other cast and crew? Are you kind of like building? Well, there's already a great hub there, but are you building your kind of go-to team and your go-to people?
I definitely am. There's definitely a lot of people that the same costume people that worked on Victories, worked on Bella's Caliber 9, and I'm continuing to work with. Same with my directors of photography and camera people. I bring them on to music videos and stuff as well. It's just whatever whoever's appropriate for the job. At the minute, I'm just continuing to network and build. Now people are messaging me. I put up a casting call, and people are approaching me about other departments. They're wanting to work on the project because they've seen the work. So that's great. Finally, this is what I've been wanting. Now I can bring people in now to see that the work is worthwhile. So people are very supportive over here. I have to say, a great network of people here, and very very talented. We're very modest people. I have to say in Northern Ireland, there's people they've just done magnificent work, real Hollywood level work, and it's like, they're just like, yeah, no, yeah, I like that. I like to do stuff.
I think that's kind of what we found as well around here. It's
Yeah.
a bit of a, well, for us, the East Midlands is kind of fairly an underused area. I think lots of people seem to travel away from the East Midlands to find work, and that whether it's like north to Manchester or to Birmingham or to London. But yeah, there are some great people working on stuff around here, and especially like that's one of the things that we like to push forward in the festival as well, showing especially people in our local area that are doing stuff, but we've had films that have come from anywhere, and we've seen great stuff.
That's it. It's like you're sort of saying, Thomas, it's finding the hidden gems that are out there that just didn't quite have the budget to get distributed in the right way. But there is so much. There's so much out there. It's just about uncovering it, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, what advice, Thomas, would you give to anybody who is an aspiring director from your point of view? What would you suggest if they're trying to build a career as a director? What lessons could you and your wisdom could you share with them?
Just give it all you got.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. Just give it all you got. Do your research. Make sure you know what you're passionate about. And a great quote from David Lynch that I was reading recently from one of his books is, "Don't try to make something that's going to impress a studio or a producer or a big executive. Just make what you want to make. And you might not make it right away, but just get the story you're passionate about done.
Yeah,
the rest will follow."
Yep. Brilliant. Yeah.
That's interesting. So have you got anything lined up soon?
Yes, I am flat out in March. 3 things coming up. I'm working on a film about an ex-paramilitary having flashbacks to a man he killed in the 70s or 80s during a yoga class. So while he's doing all the yoga poses and everything, it's mirroring the actions of what he done. There's no dialogue. It's just the voiceover of the yoga teacher. So that's really cool. Andrew's written that, and it's brilliant. I can't wait to direct it. It's gonna be slow. It's gonna be very meditative. I'm shooting a music video this month. It's gonna be kind of like Mickey Bo and Me, actually, but in a music video. And then I am producing Mark's film. Mark Lawther. I've done a few things for him before, and he's helped me on stuff as like assistant director and driving and stuff. And it's a zombie film. But I know, as soon as he sent me a script, I was like, seriously? But this is about a guy stuck in a wheelchair during a zombie outbreak. He's stuck in the house, so it's all set in the house. I thought that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's geared up to be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm flat out at the minute.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. So, Thomas, if people want to sort of follow you on social media, what sort of things would you put out? Instagram or Facebook pages. How can we help promote you, essentially?
Well, have a look on the Frontier Pictures Facebook page and Instagram, Frontier Pictures UK. That's pretty much the 2 main places that we just throw everything out. But don't go near Twitter. I find Twitter a bit pointless for what we do. But definitely follow us on Instagram. Check out the website, frontierpictures.co.uk. You can find links to all the work on there as well, some of the full films. And then just keep up to date with what we're doing.
Fantastic. That's great. Great speaking
Perfect.
to you, Thomas.
Okay, so that was a great interview with Thomas. I thought he really delved deep into what he did to really make it a successful film.
Absolutely.
And what a great guy.
Yeah.
And really looking forward to seeing what he does in the future.
I think he'll go a long way. So that is Thomas Pollock over in Northern Ireland, Belfast, building his network over on our cousin island.
Yeah.
A bit across the channel.
Yeah. Well, shall we give out the code now?
Absolutely. So, if you want your 10% discount of film waiver entries today, for the week of the 28th to the 6th of March, the code today is WDPODTP975. Just that code again, WDPODTP975.
We look forward to seeing your entries. Tune in again next week. Tune in. Is that the way to do it?
Yeah, I think people
Tune
still
in on your little radio set to the channel of
your choice
of our podcast.
Yeah.
What frequency are we at this week? You could probably just find us on your app. Just go onto your app. But you're probably listening to us now, so you probably know that. I'm not really sure why people say where you can find it, but we're on the apps, and talk to us on social media. And also, if you want to send in a question for us and our guests, feel free to on the Anchor app as well. But yeah, we'll see you next week.